With the OSP declaring former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta wanted. So the special prosecutor organized a press conference. During that press conference, he announced to the world that former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has been declared a wanted person by Ghana. Prior to that, there was a raid of his house the day before that press conference was done. After the special prosecutor made that announcement, where he told us a reason why he had started investigations on the former finance minister, he also made some serious statements that raid, where some reported that he was behind it, he wasn't the one behind it, and at worst it was something that was staged or an impersonation. A few hours later, pictures of Richard Jakpa surfaced, with him being the one who led that, raid of the house of the former finance minister. So it's been a very interesting, week with the developments. First of all, I don't know whether to start with the legal bit or the political mix with the social part of this case, and then we delve into that. But let me start with you, Sammy. You were close to the former, government because of your role here, presidential correspondent and all that. When it happened, I'm sure you were in touch with some of them, and then of course the former president and all that. What were the things that were being communicated there?
First of all, they were surprised with the announcement and the press conference by the special prosecutor, because they say that they are very much aware of the communications between the special prosecutor and Ken Ofori-Atta even before this particular announcement. They even announced that there were, correspondence and letters between the two of them. They say that on the 2nd of January, before Mr. Ofori-Atta left the shores of the country, he had written a letter to the then former chief of staff, which is Frema Opari, who was still chief of staff because the Mama administration had not taken over yet. And then on the 24th again, or I think before or after the inauguration of this administration, there was another letter to the current chief of staff, Mr. Julius Debra, informing him of his unavailability and traveling to the out of the country for some medical examination or some medical issues. And so left behind his address and contact details as to how they can reach him if there's a need to do that, especially being a former finance minister who has a lot of things going for the past 7 years as minister. Obviously the new administration may need some updates and certain things, and so he said he was available, left contact details and how they could reach him. And so for members of the previous government and the MPP, they were very surprised at this particular press conference organized by the special prosecutor, and even to the extent of declaring him a wanted man, because they believe that they were in constant communication. I mean, the office of the special prosecutor and lawyers for Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. And so for him to be announced as a wanted man and a fugitive running fugitive of justice, it was quite an interesting and something they least expected, to come from the special prosecutor, because they believe that investigations are not even done with this particular matters which the special prosecutor announced at yesterday's press conference. And for you to publicly come and announce someone as a suspect and a wanted person, it means that you've exhausted all the investigations, and then the person is running away.
Well, that's the impression the special prosecutor gave us.
But then
that the letter that he wrote to him over his condition abroad was not convincing for a person not to return home and answer questions. So
they then dared the special prosecutor to produce these letters and asking that if the person wrote a letter, why didn't you show it at this particular press conference for people to know the content of this particular letter that you are referring to and making reference to? And so for them, it was very, very surprising for them to do. And they also say that Mr. Ofori-Atta is not running away from anywhere. There have been instances where they say that the special prosecutor had even traveled outside the country to go and interview people or speak to people who were involved in subject matters in their previous investigations. And so they find it surprising that the special prosecutor can't also take the same step in finding wherever Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is, especially when he left behind his contact details and where they can find him in wherever he is. And so for them to come and publicly announce, through a press conference, which to them is all over, the world, because they say that they even saw it on the BBC, for it to be announced, it was a bit surprising. And for them, they feel is an attempt to, one, discredit Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, and then discredit the administration of Nana Akufo-Addo, which has just gone. So for them in the MPP, they are not really happy. They are not really happy about this particular development. And they have said, if you listen to the press conference today by the national organizer of the party, they have said that they will, follow this matter to its logical conclusion. For them, they know that Mr. Ofori-Atta is an innocent person. And so if they want him, he will be made available. Okay. You also heard the minority leader in parliament also say today that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has, indicated that he will be available to come and face the special prosecutor and answer every question that the special prosecutor may pose to you as far as this investigation is concerned. So for the one, they are not happy. They say that Mr. Ofori-Atta will be available as and when he is to answer every question that they want to. And they feel that it's just politically motivated just to paint the MPP administration black and Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta right. So this is the indication I'm getting from them. Okay.
Salom, was the special prosecutor out of place with first that press conference where he declared Ken, a wanted person? And secondly, did he exhaust all the processes in getting to this point?
Well, interesting questions, Vivian. It wasn't out of place, really, for the special prosecutor to have called that press conference. Indeed, his law enjoins him to hold periodic press conferences at least twice a year, and even make publications in the newspapers about ongoing, cases he's handling, just to deepen transparency. So it's one of the things he's supposed to be doing. Every now and then he can call a press conference and address a matter. So it's not out of place at all. Indeed, it is encouraged that he will do things like that to shine light on the things he's doing. It's part of transparency and accountability. So yes, when I heard he was addressing the press, I was happy and I was eager to hear what he had to say. But you see this special prosecutor, when you look at him, he appears serious. He appears like he wants to get into the bottom, or get to the bottom of a lot of matters, and I think it's commendable. The country is reeling under the weight of corruption, and anybody who appears interested in dealing with matters of corruption, I think that person deserves our commendation and deserves our support. However, in the case under reference, the Ken Ofori-Atta matter, I think that, yes, he's supposed to do the investigation, do all of the things he's supposed to be doing. But I think his declarations were too excessive and quite premature. Why premature? Of course, we may not be privy to all the discussions and all the correspondences, but at least what we've known, and I base my submission on what we've known. We know that Ken Ofori-Atta is out of the jurisdiction. He said he was going for medical, to seek medical attention. That is his reason. Whether true or not, I don't know. That is his reason. And there's no doubt, or there's no reason why I should doubt that. And when he was leaving, he informed the chief of staff, we are told, on the 2nd or so January. And when government changed, or after the transition, he took steps to, again, inform the new chief of staff. Just so the state at every point in time would know his whereabouts. And I thought that was smart, that was good, that was foresighted, that was great. Why he would do that, I don't know. And I don't know whether that has been the practice of all former finance ministers immediately after they've left office. But that's what he chose to do, and that's great. So after that, we understand the office of the special prosecutor wrote to him or invited him on the 24th of January. To write to somebody inviting him on the 24th of January or inviting him for investigation or whatever, and 2 weeks later declaring the person wanted and a fugitive, somebody running away, I thought it was premature because it was clear that the avenues hadn't been fully exhausted. This is a finance minister. No matter how bad he is being, no matter how quote-unquote criminal he's been, this is a finance minister. This was your number one finance person, the person you sent to the World Bank, the person you sent to IMF, the person you sent to the world, you know, creditors, Eurobond. He was your face.
All the main
he was your face.
Country,
So to declare him a fugitive from justice, I think that was strong, and I thought it was premature. If a few more things had been done or seen before this declaration, I'm sure all of us would have supported him. You could have done a press conference to tell us that the office has started investigating this. This is what we have done so far. We are awaiting the return of Ofori-Atta, who said is out of the jurisdiction seeking medical help. He has indicated through his lawyers that he will be back on this date, but he's not even sure. We are ready to allow him that time. He can't hide forever. Just throw it out of the way, make your insinuations, say everything you say. But to declare him wanted and call him a fugitive from justice, I think that was extreme because he hadn't exhausted the possibilities. Number one, the person has written to you, giving you his address and all of that. Have you checked from his address to see whether he's there or not? His doctors, I understand, have written to you whether the letter is credible or not. What checks did you do to ascertain or to come to that conclusion? So I thought it was harsh. I won't shield corruption. I want people to be held accountable for their stewardship to the state. Public service is a higher calling. Nobody forces anybody to public office. People fight, they even kill. They do whatever they will do to get into public office. So when you get into public office and you are called to account for your time in office, it should be something we should support and it should happen. But
before you move to your next point, he says that the reason given by Ofori-Atta, no serious security, investigative security person will take that response seriously and let it go.
That he's not well?
That is not unwell, unfit to fly back and answer questions.
Yeah, but he said he was not well.
To present himself physically.
Yes.
But he cannot run away forever.
We have said in Amationu who has run away almost forever, but it's not forever yet. But we may get there. But you see, the person is sick. You see, we live in a society. Ghanaians are willing to give more rope to people who claim they are sick, okay, and especially when it's clear that the person has some ailment he or she's dealing with. Ofori-Atta, the second term, he was finance minister, but he was out of the jurisdiction for a long time. Wow. That was how come Osechi Mensah was made to read the budget in his place. You know, so
and even when he came back, we saw the changes.
Yeah, so there's some history about him not being well. Oh, wow. Okay, so I think all these should have made the Office of the Special Prosecutor hasten a bit slowly. We support him. We want him to succeed. But the way, we support him. And the same way we support him, we want him to do it well. So that in the end, when you nail him, you know, we'll be the same persons to come and defend you and say, no, he gave him this rope. He allowed him this. He did that. He did that. The guy had exhausted all the opportunities. And so this was the time to catch him or the time to nail him. Then we know that. But you've not exhausted all of these. And for me, that is worrying. It's worrying and it's quite curious to me because to come out in the fashion he did, quite dramatic, quite concerning.
Hasn't it always been a dramatic one?
Yes, but the character we are dealing with or the person we are dealing with is your immediate part, not immediate part, but your former finance minister. Yeah. He's been finance minister for about 7 years, done a lot of things, and all of us are watching him because the big ticket things which have happened in this country, which smell of corruption, a lot of them are traceable to him. We have the SML, we have the National Cathedral, we have the ambulance, we have all of those things. Nobody's saying he's guilty yet, but all of them are traceable to him somewhat. Mind you, he's not the only finance minister we've had. We've had many finance ministers. So he has issues to answer. We will want him to answer those things. But let's do it well. I'm saying it was dramatic, it was quick for me, it was harsh, because it appeared to have come from nowhere. The guy's been out of office for about 8 months or 7 months. Why all of a sudden? You called him 2 weeks ago and today declare him wanted, fugitive from justice. Apart from that, the day before, the guy's house had been raided by people at the time we did not know. And indeed, the office of the special prosecutor did not even know the persons who raided the house, which was also concerning. Which was concerning.
Yeah.
And he categorically stated that it was staged to court public sympathy. Knowing that maybe this announcement was coming today, he staged it yesterday to court public sympathy. These were categorical. And this is coming from the special prosecutor himself, an intelligence chief, and somebody who should have access to other intelligence arms. So if you were not responsible for the raid in his house, could you, pause a bit, be sure that it was not other sister investigative bodies who were doing this? But few hours after, you come out to say it was staged because he wanted to court public sympathy. I thought it was harsh too. Only to find out later that national security itself was involved in that. And we saw pictures from the CCTV cameras of known persons in this country who have had stints with the military and who have been public figures in our country involved in that. And later we were told that those persons are part of national security. So where was he speaking from? His intelligence said or told him that it was staged. Which intelligence was he talking about? So it appeared too quick, too dramatic for me. I don't know how long it took them to prepare or to organize that press conference. But I may be wrong, but it appeared hurried for me. The press conference could have been prepared or organized or prepared. But because of the events of the day before,
change the dynamics.
you could hold on a bit. So you are sure that you are on the right path or you are not mistaken. It's legal work, it's criminal work, but you need the public usually behind you. When you lose the public, you may be doing legal things, but when you lose the public, it's not very good. And we may get into that. In many of the cases the AG has dropped now, the state lost the public. And so once you lose the public, not that the thing loses legitimacy, but it takes something away from it. So this special prosecutor, as much as we support him, we want him to do well, he should hasten a bit slowly. We saw it in the ChannelOne case. We saw all of that. We were happy how it was going, all of that. Going to FBI, all of that, only to come and tell us that he did not have jurisdiction. Oh, you did not have jurisdiction? You did not have jurisdiction. So you carried us along, and how? And it's okay, Iyoko. And Iyoko, we knew who was there. Tiwa was there. And to date, that matter, we don't know where it is.
There's a suspicion that this kind of Ofori-Atta issue maybe end up like the Cecilia Dapa's own. They are suspecting, people have really started, having conversations about it, that it may end up like the Cecilia Dapa's own. Start giddy before you realize, and there are a number of cases that, can be made in respect of this. So a lot of people have started having a conversation about this ending up like the Cecilia Dapa issue.
I think the SP is a fine brain. He's a super criminal law guy. He's one of the most important authorities on criminal law in our country. He knows what to do. I think he should take his time and do the right thing. Waiting to be sure about the raid on the man's house before going ahead, I'm not sure it's going to change anything. All right? Coordinating with other investigative bodies not too much, not to show your hands too much, but to be sure. So, for example, you call BNI, you call National Security, you call CID, you call your sister bodies, IOCO, etc. That they did do any, because there should be a relationship between them. You're all working in federals of the state's agenda.
Yeah.
Was there anything like this? Was there anything like this? So you know what it is. But you don't tell us that your intelligence suggests that it was staged. Hours later, for us to see.
But it said at best it could be an impersonation. Is that to mean that that impersonation, somebody was impersonating the national security?
Impersonating the national security?
No.
The person in question who went there?
No. But the person in question...
The majority leader in parliament has come to confirm
but the person in question...
that the gentleman worked with national security and has even apologized.
The person in
question...
question...
The
person in question is not one who is shy to talk.
Yes.
This is the person who got the Attorney General at the time.
On the phone and said, but he's not come to say anything.
No, but he may not come. I'm saying that
who sent him there?
If his pictures have been around, and indeed he wasn't the one, he did not go there, you think he will keep quiet? He will keep quiet.
It's obvious he went there, but who sent him there?
That we do not know.
We do not know.
That is what
we
is now.
We are not sure he went there. He went there on his own.
We do not know.
We don't know that.
There should have been an order for
We don't know
that.
We don't know that.
But from how states or governance works, you hardly have the state throw its people under the bus.
Because I'm saying that because what if he reached out to national security and they said they hadn't sent anybody there, they don't know about it. He reached out to all his sister security people and they all said they didn't know anything.
No, but
it's not like I speak for him, but
I still think that
the devil's advocate.
I still think he was too categorical. He was too categorical in the statements he made. Even apart from the fact that he said it was staged, declaring the man wanted and a fugitive, I think was harsh. I think it was going too far. He hadn't reached where he was supposed to characterize the former finance minister in that way. The guy has been out of office for about 7-8 months. Yeah. These things he's talking about were done in 2022. How long did the investigations take? Why should it be now? Or is it because it's out of power or his government is out of power? So you are now more comfortable to deal with it? Is that the reason?
He gave some reasons. For example, he said that of the National Cathedral, for example, Shraj even just finished this in November. And then he took it from there. So he feels the timing
he's telling us that
right.
No, he's telling us that what Shraj was doing was very different. Shraj was looking at conflict of interest.
They gave him some of the
What about
things
SML?
No, Shraj was looking at
SML.
Hey, I don't speak for him.
What about SML? He's integrating SML as well. SML was around August, September.
I want to be
when he was
clear
even out of office.
The office of the special prosecutor. But the fact that I support his office and support what he does not mean that if he does things that I think are in excess of what I expect or reasonable people expect, we should not talk about it. This is how we grow institutions.
Yeah,
right? This is how we grow institutions. These are criminal matters. And who knows, he may not recover from the damage done to his personality. He may never recover. So we have to be careful, and we are not talking about ordinary people, as everybody is equal before the law. Yeah. But they say some are more equal than others in animal farm. Former finance minister, the person you sent around the world to go and borrow on your behalf. I think we could have dealt with it a bit better than we did. Due process should have been followed in terms of the raid and all of that. I don't support the raid. The raid could happen, but we should have been clearer, or national security by now should be clear with us what they were seeking to do. Did they go with a warrant and all of that? Nothing has been said yet. National security has not even issued a statement on it. I think that even a very terse statement, few line statement that yes, national security conducted this exercise, so and so and so and so, because we are doing so and so and so, the person is a person of interest, or we are investigating so and so and so, blah blah blah, we are looking for. It's just so we know. Because if we don't take care, anybody these days, things are loose. Ghana, anybody could get a military uniform, get some bandits around, and then raid your house.
Yeah.
We have to be careful, because we are not saying it because of Ofori-Atta. We are saying it for the collective, security of the state. Yeah. We have to be careful. So if national security says, okay, this was our thing, you don't have to say much. Let's just know it was your thing. then we know that yes, something is happening. The fact that people don't like Ofori-Atta or people want to see him face justice, etc., does not mean that it must be done unfairly. He deserves fair hearing. The Constitution guarantees him that, and all of that. And we must ensure that we follow due process.
Right.
Else we will not be doing justice to him.
Okay. We have to take a quick break, but Samuel, I'll let you come in. The minority is demanding that the national security be summoned. The majority have apologized to Ken because they believe what was done wasn't right in terms of the raid and all that. And then the NPP has come out to say that what happened is a national embarrassment.
It is. And as Salom has said, this is a former finance minister recognized globally, led Ghana's negotiations in the IMF and other things. So within this, the face of the world, he's well recognized. And for him to be declared, a wanted person, you give people to think otherwise and look at him in a different way. We here don't support corruption. We want the OSP to work and rid the system of corruption. Since his appointment, anytime you hear OSP, there's a bit of fear in the system that he may come after you. So that's what we want. But as Salom said, the right processes should be used. The right processes should be triggered in getting to the bottom of these matters. Because if we just rush and do things or does things like he's doing, and then later on it is left unattended to, then it leaves a lot of questions to be asked. And outside the Cecilia Dapa issue, as a typical example, a former minister or a minister of state, huge sums of money, OSP comes in, went as far as to the FBI, and now where's the issue? Later on comes to tell her that he has realized that he doesn't have something, so he goes to Iyoko. Does it mean the issue can't be attended to anymore? And there's a fear among others that this particular one may result in that. Secondly, yesterday I heard the Attorney General and Minister of Justice at the press conference even say that he was not even aware of the press conference that was organized by the special prosecutor. I'm not saying that he needs permission.
Yeah, must get permission.
But at least they are sister organizations.
But was OSP aware of his press conference?
No, they don't have to be aware.
They don't have to.
They don't have to.
I know they don't have to, but at least it's just right.
He wasn't aware that there was a
proper
declaration going to be made of the wanted.
No, he said he wasn't aware.
The thing too is that the office of the special prosecutor wants to appear independent.
Very
That's
independent,
how we have set it up. And you see, there's some, not confusion, but there are some blurred lines. When you look at Article 88, 3 and 4, the prosecutorial powers are vested in the Attorney General. And that was a difficulty at the time they were setting up.
And a bit of it had been given to the special prosecutor.
That was a difficulty at the time they were setting up the office of the special prosecutor. To be independent. Independent of what? The Constitution vests that power in the Attorney General.
Yes.
So if you heard Ayeni, and indeed it's been his position, that there was a problem with that, but they had to do it anyway. So they also would not want to paint the picture as if they are not dependent or that they seek the authority of the Attorney General before they do some of these simple things. That would defeat the whole purpose of that office. That is the reason why, even though the office of the Attorney General is there, we went ahead and instituted the office of the Special Prosecutor. So I can understand that tension or that want or need to be independent. So they don't need to inform anybody. In fact, Iyoko, CID, all of them on the same day could hold press conference on the same subject. I mean, nobody it's not strange.
And he has said that in the coming days he may want to seek audience with the special prosecutor as well to know about this particular matter and other matters, the special prosecutor.
And it's within his right to.
Yes, and other matters, the special prosecutor.
They have to call. They may collaborate in certain instances to ensure. If you recall, Martin Amidu collaborated very well with Domelevo.
Yes.
These are independent institutions. But once the state is the agenda, we can collaborate and ensure that the state doesn't get the short end of the stick.
Okay.
But let me make this point.
Hold on, I'll come to you. I have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on the press conference by the special prosecutor. We'll also look at another name that has